All right, here we go. Let's get started. Now, I have 4 decks here for a reason, and these are in order, actually, from the newest to oldest. These ones I've had since I started my channel for over 2 months now is how long I've been using them. And they are well broken in, we'll say. They are very, very far from new. And these ones I've had for about a month, I think. These two I got last week. And the reason I have 4 decks that is it's Faro. It's a whole lot. Newer, if you're or if you're practicing, you can find. They're only 4 by if all the whole new ones. These are about, and they're not in great, but the last short. But still not easy. You just barely get the job done, but we'll get it done. But as I said, the newer the better. So if you have a new deck, use a new deck. Now, as for the actual learning process, whether you've never tried before or you've tried 1,000 times and you've never been able to do it, it's actually called trying to Faro the deck. What you are doing, essentially, is putting the 2 halves of the deck together and removing every avenue that the cards have except the one that you want them to take. If you let them go any other direction, they will. So what you have to determine is how to take away all of those other options. And as with anything else, there are as many ways to Faro shuffle as there are people trying to Faro shuffle. And you've heard me say it before, I'll say it again. The right way to do it is the way that works for you and is most comfortable. that.came, I'm a huge fan of. He's an incredibly talented magician and also an incredibly nice human being. He's just a great guy all around. He suggests using a straddle shuffle with both hands, or a straddle grip with both hands, which is this. It's your dealer's grip, which you move the pinky to the bottom, straddling the deck. And you want to do that with both hands. And that is also the way that I do it. Not because I learned it from Doug, but because I've tried it a bunch of different ways, and that's the way that works for me. If that doesn't work for you, don't do it that way. There are other ways to do it, and I will look at some of those as well. The most common way, actually, that I have seen is to hold the deck near the top with the left hand by these 3 fingers, the 2 middle fingers and the thumb. And then you bring this hand in near the middle in the same grip. And you can actually use the thumb to riffle through the cards to find half if that's easier for you. But when you separate the deck, you slide this one down just about that far so that you can grip both packets with the same hand. You do that so that you can move this hand up. Whichever grip you prefer, it doesn't matter. Just whatever's comfortable for you is what's going to work for you. And then the main point in deciding your grip is determining the grip that's going to be comfortable for you to allow you to do what needs to be done. And that's what we need to look at. That's the important stuff. You do want to get the deck as close to exactly half as you can. Like I said, if it's not 26 and 26, I'm not losing any sleep. But you do want to get it as close as you can. Now, whether you want to riffle through and do that, you just want to split it, however you want to do that, it doesn't matter to me if it's more comfortable for you to split the deck like this and then entirely change your grip. I don't care. Whatever's more comfortable for you, that's what's important. Because if you're trying to Faro from a grip that's uncomfortable or that you can't hold for long periods of time or that you're going to drop cards, whatever, then you're dead in the water before you start. But once you get your deck split as close as you can to half, there are a lot of things that you need to cover before the cards are going to Faro, because there are a lot of other avenues the cards can take in this physics problem. So step one, you want to make sure both halves of the deck are perfectly square. You don't want any overlap. You don't want any bevel. You don't want any cards hanging. They need to be perfectly square. That's why you see me tapping them. I'm trying to make sure both packets are completely square, and they need to stay that way. Once you square them, you need to make sure that you're gripping them in a way that they're not going to come loose again, because they have to be square. Now, to begin the Faro, you don't want to line your packets up this way, because all you're going to end up doing is shredding the ends of the cards. You have to start at one corner, and you can start at the bottom and go up, or you can start at the top and go down. Again, whichever is more comfortable for you. But you determine the way that you want to go, and then you bring your packets together, and if you're coming here to square, then we'll assume we're starting from this position at exactly even on both packets. Now, from here, there need to be two angles. You need to have an angle here, and you need to have an angle here. You can't be pushing the card straight in, and you can't be pushing straight in this way or that way. You need both a vertical angle and a horizontal angle. And when you begin pushing together, whatever your angle is this way, if this is the angle we're looking at, whatever this angle is, that's the angle you need to be pushing at. You're not pushing straight in, you're pushing at this angle. So this pack either stays stationary or comes straight down. This pack needs to move at this angle. Or if you're trying to start at the top and come down, then this pack stays stationary or moves up, and this pack moves at this angle. That's the only way to get the cards to Faro, is by moving in at an angle. Now, the second thing we need to look at is going to be our, like I said, you can use whatever grip is comfortable for you, but once you've gotten to this position, you need to be looking at all of the roads that you need to close off. Think of it as a map. There's all these roads the cards can take. They can go this way, they can go this way, they can turn, they can fly off in the distance. So all these roads that you need to close. So how do we do that? Well, for one thing, we need, whichever way we're going to go, whether it's up or down, we need a finger here at the top to keep the cards from sliding back, and we need a finger here at the bottom to stop them from sliding down. So we have to close those two roads. And we need our fingers on both sides of each packet to close these roads. because we don't want any bevel or lip. So we've stopped them from moving side to side. We've stopped them from running down or running up. So now the options are limited. And if we make sure that our packets stay entirely square, it removes more options. Because if the packets are square, then we can't have 5 or 6 cards from this deck shooting under this one because they're square. So we've got 2 packets that are entirely square. We make sure of that. We make sure they can't run in any of the 3 directions they want to go rather than the one we want them to go. Then we bring our cards together. We decide which corner we're going to start at. I would recommend the corner closest to you, but again, whatever's more comfortable for you. Now, we've got our corners together. We start this angle, and I'm going to say no more than about that much. I'd say that's about 30 degrees. And then we need our other angle, which I'm not used to doing it from this direction, but I'm going to say about that much, which is not much at all. But we only want enough of an angle that direction to force the cards together. So we get our square packets, we bring our corner together, we get this angle, and we get this angle. And now, place a finger here so they can't bow up and run away that way. And once we've got square packets meeting at the corner with both angles in place, and we get our finger here, the cards really don't have anywhere to go other than together. And that was one of the worst Faro shuffles I've ever done, but this is a tutorial, so it has to go rough and make me look like I don't know what I'm talking about. So again, from the straddle grip, which is what I recommend if you're brand new to this and it's comfortable for you, this is the easiest way because it blocks off all of those roads automatically. So I would take the straddle grip, make sure they're completely square, make sure we don't have any kind of bevel or lip. They should look like 2 tiny bricks, completely square, completely level. Bring our corners together and put this finger here so they can't run away. And then we begin to push. And the best advice I can give you about this is that you do have to keep your grip pretty tight when you're bringing your packs together so that they don't bevel or fall apart. But once you start to Faro, you actually need to loosen your grip just a little bit. The cards can't Faro if you're continuing to press them together. And it's important when you're splitting your packets and squaring them and bringing them together that you don't allow any air between the cards. They need to be flat. But once you get here, you do have to ease the grip in the thumbs just a little bit. Not much, because you don't want to add air and you don't want to give the cards an escape route. But they won't Faro together if you're forcing them to stay entirely flat. And I will try it once from this grip, just to see if I can give you an example of that. It is not exactly my cup of tea, but we'll put a little milk and sugar in it and get it down. And again, if you are brand new to this, I'm going to recommend you use the straddle grip. Split your deck as close to half as you can get. Get a straddle grip with both hands. Make sure that both halves of the deck are entirely square. Make sure there's no lip, there's no bevel. Make sure you're pressing together so there's no air between the cards. Now, bring your corners together, and when you get here, add both your angles, and then loosen that grip in the thumb just a little bit and push. Now, if you're wanting to bridge once you Faro, you'll need to change your grip so that you can bridge. I would suggest this grip with 2 fingers underneath in the middle, the thumbs on the top, and then the ends of the deck are going to be at this joint right here, so that again, cards don't have anywhere to go except where you want them to go. You really need to put a bend on them and then release. And one of my subscribers actually mentioned in a comment that he was having a little struggle with the bridge, so I told him I'd give it some extra attention when I did the Faro shuffle. So I'm gonna move away from the Faro for now, but I think that I've given you all the information that you need. If I haven't, if you still need more, if you try this and it's not working for you, please let me know. Tell me what you're struggling with. Tell me what the problem is. I'm more than happy to help. It's literally what I'm here for. But I'm going to go ahead and look at the bridge now for my subscriber and try to help him out with that. But I'm always here. If you need help, just ask. And if you're embarrassed, I don't know why you would be, because this is ridiculously hard to do for anyone. But if you're embarrassed about asking for help in the comments section, email me. I won't say a word. But I'm here to help, and I want this to be accessible to everyone. So I'll run through it one more time, real quick. Start in a straddle grip with your pinky and first finger on the short ends and your thumb and 2 middle fingers on the long ends of the deck. Split the deck as closely as you can to half and mirror the straddle grip with this hand. Make sure both packets are completely square. Press in with the first fingers now so that you're not getting any air in your packets. Bring your corners together, and then make sure you have a pinky on the bottom and a first finger on the top so that the cards can't run from you. Make sure you have this angle and this angle, and make sure that when you're pushing together, you're pushing at that angle and not straight in. And I promise you the cards will Faro. If they don't, let me know. I'll sit them down and talk to them. If you have any questions, please ask. I'm happy to help. I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in here, and then we'll look at the bridge.